Hello and welcome to the life of Liv and Boo. I thought I'd say hello face to face today because the last few of my videos have just been doing the recipes, and I will be turning the camera around and recording what I'm doing, but I just wanted to say a quick hello for anyone who's new to the channel and hasn't seen me before. Also, just a quick word to say that most of my recipes are going to be vegan on this channel, but today we're going to be making Easter cream egg brownies, so just a heads up, this isn't going to be a vegan or even dairy-free recipe today. But it's going to be delicious cream egg brownies, ready for Easter. And really, I would have recorded this earlier in the week to give people time to go and shop for the ingredients, but I only just decided to record this. So, I know today is super hot. It's Saturday, day before Easter, and we're all stuck inside. So I thought I would show you this recipe and show you something to do while we're stuck inside. I know it's a shame, but we all got to do our bit. So I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to be showing what to do. And if you are a vegan subscriber, I will say what you could do as a vegan alternative as I go along. For instance, instead of using egg, often I use mashed banana, or people have tried chickpea brine. And the butter I'm using is actually dairy-free. It's my favourite, naturally, butter. But there will be eggs in there as well, and obviously the chocolate. So actually, I'm just going to show you quickly. So there's going to be cream eggs. There's going to be... Now, instead of using chocolate, normal chocolate, I have this idea in my head that Easter chocolate is just nicer. So I'm actually going to be melting down... Sorry, little bunny. I'm going to be melting down an Easter bunny to use... and because I've not actually looked at the proper quantities of recipes yet, as I say, you know with this channel, if you've seen it before, I kind of just make things up as I go along. I've also got some more chocolate. I have another little bunny. I don't know what I have against bunnies, I'm so sorry. And just some dark chocolate as well, just in case we need that. I've got some free-range eggs. These are organic. I did buy organic eggs, so these should be organic. And there's going to be flour and sugar. So, I'm going to shut the camera off now and get back to it. Hi, so here we are with a dish. I'm going to use a Pyrex dish, but whatever dish you have, you need to adjust your times in the oven compared to what you have. If you have a long, deep one, you're going to need to cook it a little bit longer, and if you have a wider, thinner one, you're going to need to cook it a little bit less, because brownies, they tend to firm up after you've taken them out of the oven as well, once they're cooling down. So I'm just going to use this one. So I'm just going to show you the prep. It's always good to prep your bowl first before you go on with anything else. So this is the butter, the spread I'm going to be using. It's actually a vegan block, but as I said, this recipe itself is not vegan. But let's just start with this. I'm going to put this butter that I've chopped, I'm going to put that in a pan, and I'm going to just use this here to oil up, grease up rather, my bowl. Now, I would say that you could put things in just a greased up bowl, but I would also use baking paper. And you might be wondering, why am I bothering greasing this up if I'm just going to put baking paper in, and that's because I find that baking paper will stick and form a lot better if there's something for it to stick to. Now generally I would put the oven on now to preheat, let's say 180 degrees Celsius for a fan assisted oven, or 200 degrees for a non-fan assisted oven, but because it's loud and I've already got the boiler making noises, I'm just going to do that afterwards. So now we've got the bowl, I'm just going to set this to one side. We're going to start next by just measuring out our ingredients. I find everything's a lot easier if you have everything measured and put to one side, so when you have to add things in, if you're melting things down, making things, mixing them all together at a certain point, it just takes a lot of stress out to have things already weighed. So I've got some old school scales here. I do have some electric ones, but they are a bit broken. So I did look at a recipe on BBC Good Food. BBC Good Food have fantastic recipes for all sorts of things, but generally I adjust recipes and make them how I like them, which I think is a good thing to do anyway. You can have a look at what I'm doing, see if you agree or disagree. And it said 250 grams of butter, which actually the blocks are generally 250 grams. And it also said 400 grams of light brown sugar. I do have light brown sugar, but I also have dark muscovado sugar. And I think it would be really nice to do a mixture. 200 grams of this. And then we want 200 grams of this other one. So now we've got the sugar, I'm going to put this to one side as well. Now the BBC Good Food recipe said 140 grams of plain flour, but because I'm using a lot of heavy things, heavy sugar, heavy chocolate, because I've got a lot of chocolate, I'm going to change that to at least 150, but let's see. So I always put my flours and loose things in something else so they don't make a huge mess. The problem with doing that is I've completely forgotten to label whether this is plain flour or self-raising flour. So I'm going to hope that this is plain flour, and I'm going to add, let's measure 150, but I might go as far as 180. 180 grams of flour, plain flour, and then I'm going to add a little bit of bicarbonate of soda, just a little bit, because again I'm not sure, you don't really want it to rise too much. Brownies don't really need it, and hopefully that isn't self-raising flour, or we're going to have more of a cake than a brownie. So we need both dark chocolate and light chocolate, milk chocolate. So at the moment, this has been vegan. Let me have a look at my chocolate. So this dark chocolate I bought here. See if it's got any... No, so this is all vegan so far. This is 100 grams, and I've got quite a large amount of milk chocolate. So again, diverting from a recipe, totally fine. Do whatever you've got, because, you know, we are on lockdown as well. So I have here 190 grams of bunny, and if you are trying to do a vegan or dairy-free recipe here, there's plenty of vegan eggs actually on the market, and you could just use dark chocolate. You don't need to put the milk chocolate in, you can very easily make this vegan. The other unusual ingredient, I love raspberry brownies, and I find that adding a bit of raspberry actually makes it quite gooey. Traditionally I've used raspberry jam, but I actually have some raspberry sauce here, and I'm going to add that into the mixture. I know that sounds a bit weird, but we're going to go for it, I'm going to see. And the last thing we're going to need is cocoa powder, 50 grams of cocoa powder. And I am actually just going to add this to this mixture. So any cocoa powder would do, but again, if you're trying to be vegan, I've got a dark chocolate one. A lot of them are vegan actually, so even if it's accidentally vegan. You're going to need a sieve for this, just FYI. Okay, so we might be ready to move on to the next stage, which involves the hob. So I'm just going to close down the camera and move over. So I'll see you in a sec. So now we're over here. I've got a bowl. There's two ways you can do this. You can add everything in a hot pan, but I've done that before and kind of nearly burnt everything and it tasted a bit odd, so I'm going to do it this way. I've got here my cocoa powder, baking soda, flour mixture, and I'm actually just going to give this a little bit of a stir. This actually resembles a lot of brownie mixes you buy, but it's so much better to make things yourself. You know what's in it then. I'm going to sift all of this into a bowl. So I am going to use eggs. I'm trying to get the best eggs possible, organic and free range, the best class as I can, because I do know that there's a lot of issues, and I do try and be vegan and in the most ethical sense. That's how I like to operate, I guess, as ethical as possible. But if you are wanting to be egg-free, you could try, some people do chickpea brine, and I'll actually, if you're interested enough, if there's a few people interested enough, I will make a version, obviously not an Easter version, with chickpea brine and see how that goes. The other thing, I've made a delicious cake before using banana, mashed up banana. And then you also get, in a cake anyway, you can get some milk, some plant milk, add a bit of lemon and leave that to kind of curdle. And then that's like an egg mixture, so you could even try that here, get a little bit of plant milk, add a bit of lemon. So we're going to start with the butter in a pan. We're going to put this on a medium, just under medium heat, and we're going to grab a wooden spoon, and I'm going to just wait for this to melt a little bit. And we're going to add the rest of our ingredients really here. We're going to add our chocolate, and we're going to add our sugar. Start with the dark chocolate, because dark chocolate I think takes a bit longer to melt. So remember this part, if you're using just dark chocolate, a vegan can add all your chocolate in now. And I'm going to turn the heat down now, because you don't want to burn this. And just give this a little stir. Try and get the butter and the chocolate mixed together as soon as you can. A lot of people actually melt their butter, their chocolate separately using the, I can't remember what it's called. It's like they've got a bowl on top of a bowl of water and they use it to melt that way. And that's fine if you're just needing melted chocolate for one reason or another. But because you're melting this with butter and with sugar, it's fine to just chuck everything in really. Let me just get this going. So hopefully, let me just twist it, you can see, hoping you can see that. I know this isn't the best setup in the world. And I'm going to get my bunny. I'm so sorry, little bunny, but I know it's not a real bunny. And I know this has a bit of white chocolate in it, but so what? Try not to look at its poor little face and its little tail. But, you know, even as a little kid I felt mean eating the little bunny. And actually, because I've got loads of chocolate compared to the recipe, I'm going to eat this. I don't know why, but Easter egg chocolate is just so much better than normal chocolate. I don't know why. I don't know if they make it extra special. But to me, it just tastes so much better. I did this method once because I really wanted to make these brownies. And all I had was a bunny from, you know, when you're a kid and you get loads of Easter eggs. So that's how I began. So, again, if you're vegan, you can use a vegan egg or just dark chocolate. Next, we want the sugar. I can just go in now. So, this is one of the most unhealthy things I've ever made and ever will make. Actually, we can turn the heat off now. So you could actually just add in your flour and your eggs or chickpea brine or plant milk lemon mixture to this, and then you could just pour it directly into the bowl. But as I've said, keeping it in this really hot pan, I don't know, I think it was when I made the raspberry brownies, it just didn't seem to work for me very well. Which reminds me, I know this might seem strange, especially with cream egg brownies, but I like to test different things, and I'm going to add a bit of that in there. So when I've made raspberry brownies before, not only have I added raspberries, I've added raspberry jam, and it gives it that extra gooey deliciousness. So I'm going to try and, I think it's the thick sugar that's still thick in here. I need to move this closer to off the heat now. I'm going to just try and get all of these lumps out of it before we continue. I'm really glad that I have a dog and I've been doing my yoga. And I'm going to have to try and not eat these. I'm going to have to, as I say, cut some up, put them in the freezer, because it's just very unhealthy. And if it wasn't Easter, I wouldn't be putting this on the channel, because I would like to be advocate more healthy things to do. But it's Easter and we're on lockdown, and you may as well be a little bit naughty. Also, let me know in the comments if I ramble too much, and I could actually have sped up this on YouTube, make a really quick version, which I could do anyway, without me talking. But let me know what you prefer, because sometimes I know I'm not in the mood to watch a really long video. So yeah, let me know if you like that. I actually have a lot of cream eggs, and these are cream egg brownies after all. You can get vegan cream eggs, and if you are trying to be vegan, you're going to want to ignore all the cream egg parts, because they're not vegan, unless you get the vegan ones. I'm going to put 2, so before I go on to my actual eggs, this is a complete experiment right now, and it might not work. But I'm going to put 2 cream eggs in here, and then I'm going to bash them, and then I'm just going to add this in here, see what happens to the recipe, because obviously this is hot and you've got that nice goopy, if you're a lover of cream eggs like I am, this goopy white stuff is just the best. So into the hot mixture, and hopefully this is still hot enough. I'm going to see if this mixes in. It doesn't have to be completely mixed in, because you know, having it a bit lumpy would be actually nice. It's like adding chocolate chunks, except it's cream egg chunks. Now in this bowl I'm going to get the real eggs. 4 eggs. I'm going to add my eggs straight into the chocolate. So I know I said I wasn't going to do it this way, but I just had a feeling that if I added it, it was going to get too dry, the mixture was going to get all too dry. So actually, now it's kind of mixed together. So I hope you probably see what I mean when I say kind of feel what I'm doing with the recipe, and that's why it's, you know, it's great to have a recipe and know amounts and that, but you can make it your own and see how you feel as we get on. So I think that's about as mixed as that's going to get. I'm going to add it. Actually, let's just go for it. Let's just add the whole thing. So this is the last stage, obviously, now before we cook it. And once we cook it, we're also going to add cream eggs onto the top, which is really what makes it a cream egg brownie. Obviously I've tried putting a couple into the recipe. I have no idea if that's going to come through, because obviously we've got very strong flavours with the dark sugars and the chocolate, the Easter chocolate. Now this bowl, I love this bowl because it has a handle and it just makes mixing so much easier. So hopefully this mixture is, yeah. And at this stage, you know, you can obviously do a little taste test, but you shouldn't. I know it's really tempting to eat it, but you've got those raw eggs in there, so best not to. And we don't want to overmix that. I would say that that's gonna be good. So now I'm gonna turn on my oven, and here's the tray. So obviously we're just gonna mix this in and pour that in. Nice. So we're actually gonna add the eggs, the cream eggs, on top when it's partially cooked, either halfway through or 3/4 of the way through. If you want them a bit more melty, do it halfway through, and if you'd rather them be a bit more firm, obviously, do it 3/4 of the way through. We want all that mixture, all of that, there we go, into our pot. See? Make it even, because you don't want, it'll burn if, say, the sides are, if the sides aren't as deep as the middle, so you'll have a really gooey middle and burnt sides, which is kind of a danger of using the baking paper as well, because it can mask that, so just be prepared to give this a little jig. Obviously it's hard because it's so gloopy with all that lovely chocolate in. Hi, so we've got one final thing here really. I left this in for 15 minutes because I had a look at the BBC Good Food recipe and that did say half an hour, and this is I think a lot gloopier than the BBC one. So as you can see, it's definitely still moving around, it's still gloopy. Also, I've tried to cut my cream eggs in half, and you can see I've kind of made a sorry state of it. Can I show you? Yeah, they've not really worked. I should have used a sharper knife, so that's totally on me. But I'm just going to add each half of the egg. I'm trying to do it so you could cut decent squares out of it, I guess, but I've completely messed up there. So you could do this with just 6 halves. I've done 8, so you can make smaller brownie pieces, or you could put some in the middle there, change it up a little bit, do them long ways, I don't know, but sorry. This is it. These are the brownies. So it's up to you how long you cook this for now. I'm going to try and do 10 minutes and see what that looks like. But you might need 15 minutes. It depends on the firmness of the brownie you want. But I'll show you some pictures of it when it's done. Okay. So, do you remember me wondering whether I had self-raising flour or plain flour, or whether it was a good idea to add bicarbonate of soda? Well, this is where doing your own recipes can go disastrously wrong. Well, I wouldn't say disastrously wrong. Basically, the brownie has risen and the cream eggs have sunk, and the mix is still really, really wobbly. And let me just show you, okay? So here we have the brownies. Now, they will taste really nice, but obviously the cream eggs have melded into one. I would say for you, if you're doing it, to space them out more. Maybe just use 3 eggs. Make sure they're properly spaced. Even do it randomly so you don't get this. But I think that the brownie mixture has risen into a kind of cake. So yeah, not the best, but I'm gonna let this set. I'm gonna let this cool. I mean, it seems very, very, very not set at the moment, so I might pop it back in. But the thing is, it seems to be burning on the top, so this is why maybe following a proper recipe would be a good idea. But I think basically where I went wrong is I think I've used self-raising flour instead of plain flour. So instead of just cooking and setting, it's risen. So I'm going to see what I can do to rectify this situation. I turned the heat down to about 160 and put them in for another 5 minutes. It's still quite gooey, but I'm going to take Luna out for a walk and let that cool down, and hopefully, like cookies, once they cool down it should harden up a bit. I'm not going to show you them right now because I'm going to cut them and decorate them and hopefully make them look a little bit better, but I'm sure they're going to taste fantastic, so don't give up on me yet.